What's poppin' YouTube? How you doing? My name's Chris, aka Clutch Kodak. Today we have a special video. We're going to be talking about public speaking and how I overcame my fear of public speaking. Now, I will say, whenever I was in high school, I was one of those kids that, well, didn't like presenting or going up in front of the classroom and talking, right, in front of my peers, my friends, the teacher especially. I'm talking to you, I'm talking to people that, that I know will see this, and I feel confident enough that I can talk and present myself, whether that be public speaking on camera, public speaking in the presentation in school, or whether I'm interviewing for something or being presented an award. Public speaking is something that a lot of people will probably have to do either once in their life. When I was in high school, of course, I literally did not like speaking. Whenever my teacher would say, "All right, class, who's up first to present?" My hand was glued to my side, never moved. Never moved. I never moved. I did not want to go up in front of the class and speak. I wanted to be the last one to go. Now that all changed when I went to college. Whenever I went to college, it all changed for me. Teacher, well, as you would say, the professor would say, "Hey, who's gonna be the first one to come up?" My hand was always the first one. Let's do this. Let's get this rocking and rolling. So whenever I was in high school, of course, like I said, I did not want to present. I was so scared. I was also one of the I would say I was a student that never really talked a lot. I was very much an introvert. That all had to change, and I went to college, because whenever I went to college, we had assignments that we had to actually present our assignments to the class almost every week. There would always be a presentation every week, no matter what. Now that's different in high school. When you're in high school, you have maybe a presentation every once a month or so, right? It's not often. Maybe that's changed. Of course, that was back whenever I was in high school, which is, about a few years ago. More than a few. But yeah, so anyway, how did I overcome my fear of public speaking? That's what this video is about. How I overcame my fear of public speaking was just doing it, was doing it. And after I did it so many times, after the first 3 times of doing it and me wanting to go up and get it over with, in a way, I actually started liking it. I liked having the fact that people were listening and people were hearing me. After a while, because whenever I first started, I thought no one's going to want to listen to me. I'm just going to be super scared of doing it, and I would get so nervous. Another thing that really helped was, of course, having the initiative to go up and do the presentation. Do it. Number 2 would be I would always, before my presentation, whether that be the night before or a couple hours before my presentation, sometimes both, I would plan out my presentation. What am I going to talk about? What are the key topics I'm going to talk about? What are the key topics that's going to get people engaged and make sure that I'm not going to mess up? Because everyone's fear is going up in front of, whether that be 5, 10, 100, thousands of people, is that they will mess up. And if they mess up in a speech and they fail, that people will laugh at them. That's technically not the case. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not a bad thing. When you mess up, whether that be talking, what do we do nowadays, or what do you see people do? They make a joke out of it, And there's nothing that says you cannot say a joke or make a joke while presenting. Make something funny about what you're talking about. Make sure that there's a joke in there. Throw a little joke, because people will remember the joke, right? They won't remember your failures. You think people always think about that, and they don't. And it's like every day whenever you're out walking somewhere, you don't want someone to see you a certain way. It's called the spotlight effect, right? So you have a spotlight that's shining on you. Everyone has it, and everyone thinks that everyone around them is looking at them, and then they're just all eyes on them. That's not the case. Everyone maybe, they're going their own way. They have one path. Of course, when you're presenting, that's something different, right? But you have that effect, you have that thought that, okay, the spotlight effect is not on me, even though it's on me at the same time. That makes sense. So yeah, number 2 would be, making sure that you're presenting and you're planning, because if you don't plan, you will fail. And of course, so what you want to make sure you plan, because everyone's fear is failing in front of the people that they're presenting of, or who they're public speaking, or who they're talking to. They definitely don't want to fail. So planning is definitely, I'd say, a tip that I'd say for sure. Number 3 is just because I like to make new friends, and talking and getting and making yourself feel like you're a people person, and you can talk to people, and they can come up to you and ask, wow, man, this person seems very personable. I can go up to him, her or her, and talk to them and say, hey, you know what? I really liked what you said. How you doing? Blah, blah. We have questions. Whatever. Whenever I was in college, people ask me, they say, hey, how do you do this? What's this and that? And, and it helps out a lot. You think, wow, man, even just one person coming up to you and asking you questions about your project, you're like, man, I really like that. So yeah, that's how I really overcame my fear. Was number 1 was I just did it. And after the 3 times that I had that mentality of I'm gonna do it, I started liking it. Maybe you won't have that, and your mindset, but have that mindset, I'd say. And yeah, go ahead and do it. And once you start doing it, you'll love it. You'll want to talk. You want to talk to all the time, right? Number 2 is plan ahead. You want to make sure you plan ahead, and so you make sure you don't fail. Because if you fail, that's what everyone is afraid of, is failing. And if you plan, you can minimize the projection of you failing. Your presentation, public speaking, or your speech, whatever you're doing. Another thing about me public speaking is that I would never be where I am today without having the courage to stand up and speak in front of people, whether that be 2, 3, 500, 1,000 people. Having the ability to talk, it got me to where I am today. I'm talking here in front of the camera. I'm talking to you. I am actually a photographer, and I would have never been a photographer if I would have never had the ability to speak up, speak for myself, go after what I want, and talk and say something, that kind of leads to me getting my career or what I'm doing. Now you're probably wondering, well, Chris, you don't need to be a outspoken person to be a photographer. Well, maybe you don't, but trust me, it helps. It helps, even to be a photographer or whatever career you want to do. Whether you want to be a marketing officer, whether you want to be a teacher, whether you want to be a foreman, right? Whether you want to be whatever you want to be in your career, you have to speak. You have to talk. You have to be one to have that ability to talk and give communication to others. Whenever I'm a photographer, I use communication. Whether that be my models that are out there, whether it just be a setup that I'm trying to get for, family photos or something like that, or event photos, I'm going to make sure that they are in the right spot where I want them to have that vision really come true. Teacher, you talk in front of people, kids. You're teaching, right? You're teaching, you're communicating what you want to say. Another thing would be, of course, if you're a foreman, giving out instructions where you want to do and where the other workers are going to be, making sure they're building a masterpiece that's done properly and right, because without communication, nothing will get done right. So talking is a big thing in life, and I think learning how to talk can really help out. So yeah, and that's why I say, and I'm happy to say it, if I never actually had the confidence to talk and ask or to speak up for myself and and try to be a photographer, I would have never became a photographer or content creator like I am here. And of course, in another video, I will be talking about how I went from my photos being subpar to up good. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is how I overcame my fear of public speaking, and I hope you're able to do the same, and I hope this really helps you out. And if you have any questions at all, any questions that maybe I did not talk about in this video, you're welcome to comment at the bottom. Ask questions. I'll get your questions and answer honestly and truthfully. Also, watch me on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Just come in there. I usually play a lot of Dead by Daylight games. If you don't know what that is, I'll be making videos of that. And of course, you can just come in and we can chat about whatever you want. I'm always there just to talk and love meeting new people. And that's like I said, public speaking, make new friends. That's what I definitely want to do. Well, welcome to come by, and hope you liked the video. If you did, I would really appreciate a like. Thank you very much. We'll be making more videos like this in the future.